Halfway house near me in Virginia. Are you tired of scrolling over the web searching for a halfway house near you? Well, this article is the solution to your time-consuming online searches for listings for halfway homes in your region. We will provide the link in the lists of different sites that you will use to choose your desired halfway house place. But first, let's go over the basics of a halfway house. What exactly is a halfway house? A halfway house is a dwelling in the community where individuals are assigned to either work or live. Moreover, these facilities will also give you regulations that you must follow to avoid relapse or causing relapse in other facility residents. You may also be expected to participate by doing specific duties and paying more of the center's costs. The most important thing to remember is that the halfway house in Virginia will require you to maintain your sobriety for the duration of your stay. These facilities may assist you in sustaining long-term recovery and sobriety by ensuring that you do not succumb to your demands and triggers. What is the longest time a person may remain in a halfway house? Strictly speaking, there is no legal restriction on the amount of time the Bureau of Prisons, BOP, may place an order to put any prisoner in any facility. A place of imprisonment is defined as any place of detention, including a halfway house. However, in practice, persons who are freed from jail are not granted additional time than 12 months of reintegration programs. Either in a treatment facility or at home confinement, the period spent in home confinement cannot exceed 6 months or 10% of the total time spent in detention. Whichever is the shorter of the two sentences. In actuality, the most prolonged protracted duration and any of the maximum time a prisoner may stay in a halfway house is 12 months. Inmates who pose a high risk of violence, successful adjustment to prison life, a track record of effective participation in prison programs, and people who lack community support structures are more likely to spend time in a halfway home. This is because the BOP considers that high-risk offenders are more in need of a halfway house's resources. However, keep in mind that no one is guaranteed any time in a halfway house and the Bureau of Prisons has the last say on how long a prisoner remains in a halfway house. What is the essential rule in a sober living home? The most important rule in any sober living home is that occupants must maintain their sobriety. They are not permitted to use alcohol or illegal substances. Residents may be unable to use certain mouthwashes or cook with specific ingredients, such as vanilla, under certain scenarios. If the resident is submitted to a drug test, these goods might contain alcohol, resulting in false positives. Furthermore, these products may increase the likelihood of relapse since some residents may attempt to get intoxicated or high by misusing them. Consequently, some sober living facilities forbid the consumption of alcoholic beverages. Moreover, these rules encourage residents to accomplish tasks and even attend their studies on schedules, and they must also avoid using any violence. Some halfway house residents are obliged to return home by a specified hour at night. Residents learn to be accountable for themselves and their actions by following these regulations. Is a sober living home an excellent choice for you? A sober living home may be the best option if you or someone you care about battling drug or alcohol addiction. These one-of-a-kind living arrangements help people stay clean by maintaining high standards and assisting them to continue regular activities such as working or attending school. Residents may also rely on one another for help at home and establish new friends equally devoted to recovery. Other people may need detox or treatment before they can successfully live in a sober setting, until they can live in a straight environment. On the other hand, these residences provide a halfway house which is the most secure option since it is a drug and alcohol-free environment designed to help its residents. People who have achieved sobriety and desire to maintain their sobriety may choose to consider relocating into a halfway house or similar sober living group home. Living in a place like this may aid in recovery and make it more likely that recovering addicts will remain clean in the long run. You have most certainly made remarkable progress, regardless of how challenging your recovery has been. You might not be what you want to be, but you are no longer where you would be. Is the halfway house secure and safe? Halfway houses are risk-free investments. Unfortunately, some individuals have been labeled halfway houses because of the populations they serve, although this is an erroneous belief. Halfway homes have experienced professionals on hand to guarantee that their tenants are safe and on track. They are dedicated to providing a safe environment for all its residents, regardless of their reason for living there. A halfway house is the most secure option since it is a drug and alcohol-free environment designed to help its members. A halfway house's entire idea is to assist persons safely transitioning from rigorous inpatient treatment to outpatient programs and re-entering society. Halfway homes may shield their inmates from temptations or poor decisions. Here are some suggestions for safeguarding yourself and increasing your chances of long-term sobriety. Investigate the facilities both online and in person. Inquire about the state license of the institution. Inquire about the drug and alcohol program's licensing. Please do not bring anything of value. Bring nothing that might be used as a weapon. Set your focus on your goals while in residence. Learn about the house's community, including both residents and guests. Create a support system by locating a mentor or a buddy who is equally devoted to following the program. Learn about the local public transit system. Maintain a routine or organization. If a person is worried about the safety of the halfway home to which he may be assigned, he should study as much as he can about the halfway house and, if feasible, discuss his concerns with a lawyer. Prisoners may also work with family members and other outside supporters to find jobs, a place to live, and transportation so that they can be freed from the halfway house sooner. Best halfway house facilities near me. If you want to choose the finest sober living home near you, you need carefully analyze your alternatives since each home is organized differently and typically has its own set of house rules. The finest property for your specific requirements may be worth traveling for you. And these are the listings for halfway houses that will be ideal for your rehabilitation requirements. You may select your desired halfway house near you by clicking the link below and following the steps on their websites. 1. Halfway houses. They provide a free online directory of halfway homes and sober living facilities in the United States. On their detail pages, they present as much information as feasible. If you have any questions about any of these facilities, they recommend contacting the location to get more information. They offer this as a resource directory for anyone looking for assistance. Many of the venues listed in this directory only offer sliding scale prices depending on incomes. This information is provided on their detail pages. Listings are always improving, particularly images and reviews, to provide the volume of data as much as possible. 2. Shelter listings. Shelter listings is committed to assisting the homeless and low-income people. Their shelter list includes emergency shelters, homeless shelters, day shelters, transitional housing, residential drug/alcohol rehabilitation programs, supportive housing, and permanent affordable housing. Their list, like their services, is regularly increasing. When they come across a resource that they believe would benefit the poor, they add it to the list. Hopefully, by visiting shelter listings, you will be able to get some help. Shelter listings makes every effort to provide free services. Many homeless shelters and services are provided at no cost. Some organizations demand nominal fees. They constantly encourage their website readers to visit the providers' websites when they supply them or contact them for further information. Their service consists of compiling a list of potential resources. Most halfway houses, permanent housing, transitional housing, and substance abuse treatment centers charge a fee. The majority of the drug misuse services they provide are free or low cost, either to Medicaid or a sliding scale charge. On the websites of these venues, they give as much information as feasible. 3. Transitional housing. Transitional housing is a residence that aids persons in transitioning from drug abuse addiction, domestic abuse, homelessness, or other sorts of poor living conditions. Transitional housing is just temporary and assists individuals in breaking out from their existing predicament. Transitional housing is a website for people seeking temporary housing depending on their current requirements. Transitional housing types are given. 3/4 house. Sober living homes that assist you in resuming your regular life. Sober living home. These are residences for those recovering from substance misuse. Halfway house. A variety of houses can help people with drug addiction difficulties, emotional concerns, physical issues, and re-entry into society. Recovery home. It is transitional housing for those recovering from alcoholism, drug addiction, mental illness, or disabilities. Transitional housing gives access to resources such as Alcoholics Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous in a helpful, structured atmosphere. Different homes have different standards, including attendance at meetings or 12-step programs. 4. Alternative addiction. Alternative to addiction has a clear goal whether you are seeking information on particular medicines, therapies, or mental health difficulties. Maybe you want to know how to get treatment, and they want you to be able to access it quickly and simply on their site. They want to save families and lives by increasing awareness and assisting individuals in locating the resources and services they need to recover. The material on their website is intended to enhance the advice that a medical practitioner may offer and should not be used to replace medical treatment or guidance. Please see your healthcare physician if you, a family member, or a loved one are battling drug abuse or behavioral addiction. Furthermore, Alternative to Addiction works to simplify you to choose the correct treatment facility for your specific requirements. They make finding and comparing possibilities easier by displaying all of your accessible options in one spot. If you find a rehab center you want to contact, go to their homepage, browse listings by state, or look at top-rated listings. Their database contains information on addiction treatment clinics, detox centers, addiction psychiatrists, addiction psychologists, dual diagnosis treatment centers, and mental health treatment centers, allowing you to make an educated choice about which therapy is best for you. You are under no requirement to use their services, and you are free to explore their resources as much as you want. When customers decide to work with a service mentioned on their website, they earn no compensation or money from the treatment providers. They believe that everyone has the right to obtain care and treatment and do it safely and honestly. They uphold the highest moral standards and never sell information or broker admissions. Please notify them if you encounter unethical, misleading, or deceptive marketing techniques when speaking with resources featured on this site. They want to make sure you discover a reliable provider and get the finest treatment possible for your circumstance. 5. Right Path Addiction Treatment Centers. Right Path Treatment Centers use the most recent and effective addiction treatment approach, which combines medication, behavioral therapy, and support as a full 3-part program. This is the most effective, time-tested method for achieving long-term sobriety. Right Path now accepts Virginia Medicaid and provides same-day appointments. The initial step on the path to recovery is the most essential. Delaying therapy when a person is ready to begin is often a major risk. They approach recovery with the understanding that addiction is a disease. They discovered that combining medication with psychotherapy and support creates a solid foundation for those suffering from addiction to build a more long-term recovery. Right Path Treatment Center's mission is to provide compassionate treatment that is inexpensive and convenient to individuals impacted by addiction. They assist those who have been affected in regaining control of their lives. Their physicians use buprenorphine, Suboxone, Vivitrol injections, and Probofine implants in what is known as MAT, medically assisted treatment. Right Path's treatment strategy places a significant focus on combining medicine with counseling and support. Compared to other more conventional techniques, this combination is the most successful strategy to treat opioid/heroin/alcohol addiction. Right Path is an outpatient treatment clinic that integrates the most effective evidence-based treatment regimens. Medication is critical in the redirection and suppression of withdrawal symptoms, particularly in the early stages of rehabilitation. Withdrawal symptoms may be excruciating, and they are a major cause of relapse. Medication helps to alleviate withdrawal symptoms, allowing patients in their program to focus on their lives, families, and, most importantly, their recovery. Their doctors also prescribe anti-alcohol medications. These drugs are personalized to each individual and may be reviewed with the healthcare team during a patient's program intake. They understand how difficult it can be to locate a Suboxone clinic or an addiction treatment center within a reasonable distance. You may use the tool below their homepage to find the Right Path Addiction Center office closest to your house or job. Allow them to assist you in recovering your future. You may also enter your zip code to discover the Right Path Addiction Center location near you. 6. Women's Shelter. Women's Shelter's mission is to make it simple for women to access shelter listings. They aim to make it straightforward to use for ladies who want immediate assistance. They list emergency shelters, transitional housing, family shelters, residential treatment facilities, and other women's residential services. 7. Drug and Alcohol Rehab Centers. Drug and alcohol rehab centers provide information about alcohol and drug rehab programs, including a wide range of addiction treatment methods. This website contains information about drug abuse intervention programs and how to choose the best addiction treatment clinic. It also discusses how an addict's background may have contributed to their drug usage, as well as the difficulties of being an addict. It explains how to prepare an intervention and who should help the addict throughout their recovery. Their objective is to give as much information as possible about every sort of drug misuse therapy that is now accessible in the United States. They do this so that you may begin treatment with confidence, knowing that you have chosen particular treatment alternatives that will appropriately treat the addict. If you have a loved one in denial about their addiction, they have offered a step-by-step guide to conducting a family intervention. A professional intervention expert may be required in certain circumstances to influence the addict and bring about an instant shift in mindset.